All right, Remake Learning Days. This is how to host a Remake Learning Days event for 2018. And let me start with a little bit of background. Remake Learning Days, RLD, started in May of 2016, giving families the opportunity to experience the future of learning in the Pittsburgh region over the course of 1 week's time. Remake Learning Days returned in May of 2017, and it will continue in May of 2018. For Remake Learning Days, members of the Remake Learning Network create future-ready, hands-on, relevant, and engaging educational experiences for kids and their families, caregivers, and educators in Greater Pittsburgh, West Virginia, and beyond. And feel free to look up Remake Learning and learn more about the network of over 200 organizations. For Remake Learning Days 2018, it will take place May 17th through the 25th. And this year will be a 9-day celebration of events throughout southwestern PA and West Virginia, showcasing everything that makes the Pittsburgh region a recognized national leader in innovative teaching and learning. Families can find thematic events such as arts, maker, outdoor learning, science, technology, and youth voice at schools, museums, libraries, after-school centers, universities, media centers, tech startups, places of worship, and more. Events are free and open to the public. And a little different this year is we will still have theme days: arts, maker, outdoor learning, science, technology, youth voice, but not assigned to a specific day of the week. For this past May 2017, we would, for instance, have had outdoor learning on the Tuesday and arts on a Friday. This year, again, we're still asking organizations to select a theme, but we are not requiring that to be on a specific day out of the 9-day schedule. Host an event. Are you an organization that is remaking learning for kids? Please consider hosting an event or multiple events for families during Remake Learning Days. Again, Thursday, May 17th through Friday, May 25th. In both 2016 and 2017, we had over 200 organizations host nearly 350 events throughout southwestern PA and West Virginia. Now, attendance per event ranged from 5 attendees to 400 attendees. So please keep that in mind when you are thinking of planning your Remake Learning Days event. You may get one family. You may get 5 individuals. You may have 400. You may have students, educators, families. It could be huge. So there is no event that is too small or too big. And that's really managing your expectations, what a successful event looks like in your eyes. But to us, it's really getting, if it gets one family out of their home and into your space, that's fantastic. A successful Remake Learning Days event should be free or certainly low cost, in a welcoming space, accessible to youth and families, giving them the opportunity to participate in a 21st century, future-forward, hands-on learning experience. So I'm going to repeat that one. We want you to really be thoughtful when you're planning your event and make sure it's something exciting, very interactive, and really future-forward, and make this experience something really remarkable for not only the students, the youth, but families. We ask that it's thematic. Again, arts, maker, outdoor learning, science, technology, or youth voice. And this can be part event and part community building. We do have Remake Learning Days resources that we have developed and we will continue to update. Today, we'll talk through the timeline and the checklist, and mention the host and event form, which will be live on our website December 1st. And we also have a marketing plan. And that I will let you look at on your own. I will circulate the webinar notes to everyone who is on this webinar today, and we'll make sure it's accessible on the Remake Learning Days website as well. I'm going to take one moment. I see we might have questions, so let's stop here and just on the very important slide of Remake Learning Days, to submit your event, that opens December 1st on the Remake Learning Days website and closes January 19th. So I'm going to pause on this slide. I'm going to see what questions we might have.
Dory, there's a question about whether people have to select only one theme and category or if they may select multiple themes.
Okay, thank you. You may select multiple themes. We will have a primary and then secondary. So that's a great question. And that will show up on the website as parents, caregivers filter through events. They will see your primary arts with a focus on youth voice as a secondary or maker. So great question. Oops. All right. Let's take a look at the timeline as it is now with the November 20th date today, our webinar, How to Host a Remake Learning Days event. And really take this month, I know we have Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday and a nice break for everyone, but take this time to consider what a Remake Learning Days event will look like for your organization, and try to talk with your coworkers and even folks outside of your organization. Maybe you'll partner with others on the event. So try to start your dialogue about your event this month. And on Friday, December 1st, you'll have the opportunity to go onto the website, remakelearningdays.org, and click on Host an Event form, and you may submit your event beginning December 1st. We will have another webinar January 10th, similar to this one. We'll do a December webinar, a January webinar, really to get more folks interested in Remake Learning Days and understanding how they can host an event. So please mention that to other organizations, your network. If anyone was unable to make the webinar today, they can certainly tune in in December, December 11th and January 10th, and we'll talk through the process. And by then, the host and event form will be live on the website. We have a deadline of January 19th to submit all Remake Learning Days events. So that's very important. Again, we talked about Thanksgiving coming up. We know this is holiday time, but we really encourage all organizations. Again, in past years, we've had over 200 organizations submit events. So we encourage all organizations to submit your events. So that means you must know what your date and location and an idea of what your event is by January 19th. And that will be submitted on our website, remakelearningdays.org, through the host and event form. We will allow you to come back in February and make any edits that need to be made to that event that you've posted, or the events, plural, that you posted. And if you need to cancel an event, we ask that you do that by February 2nd, removing it from the website. And we know the timeline seems a little rushed, but we really want to ensure that we offer adequate time for marketing and outreach to make sure events are properly marketed via our brochure that is mailed to homes, and we have backpack flyers that go home with students. So multiple ways where we share all of your events with our public, with families, with students. Let's pause. More questions are coming in.
Dory, there was a question about if there was going to be grant funding available.
That's a great question. Grant funding will be available, and we can talk offline about that. I'm available via email, so please, if there's questions about funding, reach out to me directly, dory@remakelearning.org. Thank you for that question. Great.
And there's also a question about making edits after February. If there's some small edits that need to be made online, are you still allowed to make changes after that?
Yes. Excuse me, let me go back. The website is effective for many people. It might not be the most effective for all people. A lot of individuals love the printed brochure or printed flyers and backpack mail. So if something changes and it's printed in the brochure or in a flyer, that's what parents and students might see. But we always say, even in the brochure and on the flyers, please refer back to the Remake Learning Days website for up-to-date information and any edits or changes. So certainly you will be able to make edits and changes on the website. Yes. Other important dates, we would love to have your support with marketing outreach, PR in March and April, really leading up to your event. So we encourage you to develop your own marketing plan internally, and how is your organization going to best market your event or events for Remake Learning Days. You will see that our printed materials will be distributed in April. We have a lot of press usually in the news that comes out April, May. So those are important dates. We will have surveys that are sent to you for all of your participants to complete. And we ask for your support as an event host to have attendees complete those surveys. And if you could get those back to us when your event is over in May, that would be wonderful. And we will have, of course, a survey for you as an event host to complete as well, and get that information back to us, and we'll tidy everything up at the end of May into June. All right, moving on from the timeline. So this is important with the host and event form that will, again, be live December 1st. We have a checklist that is part of the host and event form. And the checklist really, asks very important questions about your event, such as, is your event open to the public? What is the date and time of your event? Have you confirmed these with your key stakeholders? Where will the event be held? Is this confirmed? Have you confirmed who will lead your event at the confirmed location on the confirmed day? What is your budget? Have you thought about materials, food, supplies you'll need? How much that will cost? What is your plan for funding your event? Marketing plan. Have you discussed this with your marketing communications director, or if it's a smaller organization, or just you? What is your marketing plan? Do you have a great name for your event and description? Again, this is going to be key to grabbing family and youth's attention on the website. What is the description? What is the title of your event? And it'll be in the brochure and featured, again, in the flyers. So ideally, as you're about to complete the host an event form, you have said yes to all of these questions on the checklist. And one new one this year is having all organizations collect RSVPs for each event. So again, you may be doing one event, you might be doing 5 events. For each event that you submit, we ask that you have a way to capture RSVPs. It is not mandatory, but strongly suggested and recommended. And we at Remake Learning use Eventbrite. So we recommend that prior to going on with the host an event form, you stop, complete an Eventbrite for your event in May, and then you'll copy and paste that link into the host an event form for Remake Learning Days. Now, this whole process that starts December 1st and ends January 19th might take you a full 60 minutes to complete. So you're going to want to set aside time in your calendar for Remake Learning Days, submitting my event. I have between December 1st and January 19th to set aside 60 minutes and complete the checklist, and then move forward with the host an event form questions. And again, that will be live December 1st. All right, so we do have Dr. McCavney on the webinar with us. And let me just read this testimonial about his experience with Remake Learning Days 2017. We had a number of different offerings from across the district wrapped into a single location, but managed to engage everyone that attended. Aspects of the event functioned as professional development for teachers, while also engaging students, parents, and the larger community in modern learning and the work of the Remake Learning Network. And once I circulate this webinar and the notes, you can dive deeper by going to the website link in this slide. But enough from me. Let's hear from Ed himself, and he can talk more about his experience with Remake Learning Days 2017. And I will pull up some slides that he can talk about.
Thank you, Dory. So while Dory's pulling up the slides, as she said, our event covered multiple things. And what we did is looked at the thematic events there, and then we picked one of the technology days and held it was almost like a mini conference, but we ended up, if you could just go back.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go. So what we did is looked at all the themes, and then we looked at our various PTO funds, parent-teacher organization funds, and other grant funds that we've gotten throughout the year, as well as competitions that students participated in, and interesting projects, a selection of interesting projects that teachers have done throughout the year. And we kind of combined that into one showcase evening that was also made it hands-on, where we did, internally, we did submissions for events, and then we built a schedule and thematically placed people around, whether it's a kindergarten group or a high school group. We, based on the types of activities they were doing, we located them around the building, and we held it at our middle school. Then for this, from a marketing piece, we put together postcards. We printed about 500 postcards, and we distributed them in the buildings, handed them out at board meetings, parent events, and we also stacked them in the various restaurants and other area businesses, so that when people came through, they were seeing the marketing materials. And then we put together with our PR person, we put together kind of a program to go on the website to give people a highlight with a map of things that they might want to see, especially so parents that wanted to see their kids presenting, they knew where to go to find people, and we had parent volunteers to help direct people to different places in the building. Some of the things we did, one of the featured events was we actually built an escape room at our middle school, and that was, we just presented on that at the 3 Hours at Tech conference, but that highlighted a number of project-based learning interactive things that the kids built and the students built throughout the, in terms of the project-based learning, the way they personalized it. And then just the last slide was to just kind of give you a sample of some of the hands-on things that the teachers and the students were doing, from little bits with art. They made little bit art drawing robots that they did in art class at the elementary level. They had that. They had assistive technologies on display where they did research projects at the elementary level, but then we also had that next to the hands-on AP research, where students presented on their AP research they did at the high school level, but it's mostly seniors that take that class. And just other activities that the students had and where they could sit and do things with their parents as well as other community members. And then the teachers really like it because they get to see across the district all the different levels where what they are teaching, the way it's being taught at the higher levels, or the way the elementary students are teaching things the high school teachers see as they're coming up. So they can, it was a cross-curricular kind of interactive session.
Thank you, Ed.
You're welcome.
And I believe we might have some questions. So let's take the last few moments to answer questions that we have. Questions about the deadlines. And I think, actually, we've covered most of our questions here. Oh, a question about a host organization having multiple partners involved in the event. Should partners submit anything online as well? No, not necessarily. We believe that there should be one point person, and that's going to be a dialogue between the main event organizer and the partners. Someone must take ownership of the event and enter all the information on the website. That's a great question. Any more questions? Okay, so once again, this was just one of many Remake Learning Days webinars to come. So thank you for joining us for this webinar. And we're going to circulate the PowerPoint. We will share all the important dates in the timeline, and we'll make sure you are event ready. Once again, what's the major date? The major date is December 1, which is the date that the host and event form will be live on the website, and submissions will go through January 19th. So thank you. Thank you for listening, and that is it. We are at 10:30. I appreciate everyone's interest in Remake Learning Days. I saw a lot of hosts from 2017 on this webinar. So thanks for tuning in, and please share this information with organizations who may not know about Remake Learning Days. Thank you.